Hey, what's up, everyone? This is day 3 of my daily YouTube vlogs. Today I'm going to be talking about a very commonly occurring phrase or concept, which is jack of all trades, master of none. Essentially, this master of none mentality. A lot of people kind of say that they'll describe themselves as that with some regret. Like I'm okay at a lot of things, but I don't feel like I'm really good. Excuse me, at any one of these things, or I'm not as good as I want to be. And if I could just choose one, maybe I'd be better, or I'd be memorable, or I'd be doing better work. I don't know, maybe I'd have a different life. I get that sense from people, usually a sense of disappointment. Um, it feels more normal to be good at a lot of things, but not really good at anything. And that normalcy comes with some guilt for some reason. I think in this culture, we raise up celebrities, we raise up specialists, we raise up people who are experts, people who blow us away with their abilities, people who impress us, people who are extremely beautiful, extremely smart, extremely successful, extremely rich. That's who stands out to us here. We idolize the standout. I'm just saying the same things a lot of different ways. But I want to propose the idea that successfully integrating all the parts of yourself that are good at a big number of things, being a well coordinated person who can make all of the things that they are interested in work together for one greater purpose, even if not a single one of those looks extraordinary, I think is the perhaps the greater success, perhaps the bigger success story. It might not look as flashy, but the person who is healthy and integrated, I think, has done a more profound job, perhaps, than the person who has become a billionaire or who sells a million albums, um, or is the top of their field in whatever area of study or skill that they have. So here's what got me thinking about this. One, I've been very aware of my inner parts lately, my inner world. You could say that I've been doing work to quantify my inner world, which is something that humans do well. We measure things, we name things. This is part of how we develop language and math and systems. We first have to call something something, and then so that we can better understand it and then better put it into context and combine it with other things and then call that a new thing. That's kind of what we do in the material world a lot. Imagine an architect without the ability to divide space by inches or feet or meters, what have you. Imagine how difficult that would be. So the architect of their own inner space is good at dividing, measuring, and naming their interior. They're interior designers and architects of their own inner spaces. So what I've learned to do is to give names to different personality parts that emerge in my life. This is either when I see myself doing something really well, or when I see myself struggling, getting stuck, getting super depressed, super anxious, or super happy, super excited. All of these things are kind of different modes of being, and if you are aware of that and you can start asking yourself these certain questions along the lines of like, what is it in me? What process within me is coming up against this external situation? What is it? How is that registering internally, and what part of me is interacting with that in this certain way that makes me feel this certain way? Usually the feelings we have are the results of some inner concept or belief that we have coming into contact with something that is going on around us. So I made this list the other day. I love making lists. I made a list of personality parts to interact with. And so long form, I could say the version of me or the part of me that is empathetic. It's like empathy me. Or like the part, well, here's all my examples. I just don't word them that long, like that completely. So personality parts to interact with. Long attention span. Undistracted. Like, so the focused, long attention span person, who is that in me? Because I remember them from way back when, but right now they like seem very buried. I'm a very, like, I feel like my attention is very, very broken up lately, which has a lot of reasons which we could talk about. But after I've named it, we can talk. It's easier to talk about it. Okay, so the businessman, the person who likes money, the fun tech teacher, I called him, the person who believes 100% in energy work and magic, the person who is the best boyfriend they can possibly be, the generous version of me, the show and teller, the comedian, the writer, the innovator, the game designer, the sexually relaxed version of me, the efficient book reader version of me, the highest energetic, like energetically efficient version of me, the performer, the graphic designer, the strategizer, the proud version of me, the angry version of me, the student in me, the musician in me, the moment maker, the moment capturer. And then I went into modes I'm interested in, like ways of being I'm interested in, which is really close related. They're almost a part of the same list. So like the inquisitor, like inquisition mode, inquisiting mode, I guess, play mode, utter transparency mode, performing mode, the self-analyzing mode, the accomplishing mode, I'm going to get this done mode, negotiating mode, flow state mode, the unfiltered but intentional mode. And as I go through all of these, I can see very specific examples of times that person has either been functioning very well or perhaps not functioning very well. They all have their opposites. Of course, if everything has its opposite, then every single one of these versions of me has a shadow. The generous person in me has a complementary, selfish person in me. Some days when a homeless person is asking for money, I will go up to them and say, hey, can I get you food? Or I'll give them the change that I have in my car, something. But then some days I think to myself, I can't afford to part with anything that I have, or I don't have the energy to interact with this person right now. Okay, and I mean, that can be more complicated and selfish, of course, but sometimes I feel that I can be generous. Sometimes I don't feel like I can be generous. Okay, so in that case, it would be helpful for me to sit down and interact with that person, that version of me. Look into, okay, when you're feeling generous, why do you feel unable to feel generous? What makes you feel more powerful than the selfish person who doesn't believe there's enough to go around? That's connected to abundance mindset and like depravity mindset, right? So these are all like entry points. They're all access points into my interior. And by giving them names, I have a starting point. it's much easier to see all of these things in front of me, um, than to just be like, I am sometimes this, just I am this. Like, we're much too complicated. We're much too complicated. Um, at we're, we're much too complicated to always be trying to look at ourselves as a whole. We are a whole. Don't get me wrong, but it helps to pixelize and separate, knowing that there's still an overarching me, but then like going down a layer and saying, what am I made out of? Let's talk. Okay, so again, I'm saying the same thing over and over again. What part of that is me? The person who really, really, really wants you to understand and is a little bit like worried that you won't understand. It's the part of me that doesn't want to be misunderstood. See, I'm still at it. That's 3 or 4 different ways that I can say the same thing. I want to interact with that person. How can I say a thing once and be confident that you got it? That would be a very helpful thing for me to interact with. Okay, so this is like just self-awareness, is looking at yourself in the mirror. So something fun that I did with this, as I do want to encourage you to like try this, after you've made the list, you can draw. So what I did is, okay, here's what it looks like. It's a mess. Those are my lists. I had a list of books that I'm reading in there too, but I started drawing lines and saying which of these personality parts that I have are connected to each other, or like closely related to each other. It's all connected. That's the point. It's all connected. You are all of these things. But how do these things affect each other? And are they integrated? And by integrated, I'm asking, I'm saying that they are they're functioning best when they're all pointed towards a singular goal. So if you think about them all having the energy that they have, let's say there's 10 different personality parts that I have, and let's say they can be oriented towards my overarching goal, or they can be oriented away, but they're all giving out their own energy. We'll say like up or down. Up is oriented towards my goal, down is not. We'll just oversimplify that. Okay. If 5 of those personality parts are pointed towards my goal, but 5 of them are not, what do I get? I get stagnancy. Probably. I'd like to believe we're always progressing, but like you can see how like some of them could be pulling the other ones down, and you could not be getting the progress you want. But just change even one of those, point it up, and now I have like 6 going towards my goal and 4 just going somewhere else. Now my motion towards my goal, I can like feel that momentum. How about 7 and 3? I've got 7 of those personality parts all pointing towards my goal. I'm going to be moving faster, right? It's just simple math. If you could get all of your parts, if you could be communicating with them and getting them not only to listen to you and be oriented towards your goal, but also be listening to each other and interacting with each other well, then they're going to multiply their energy, and you're going to start moving much, much better. And it's going to be easy because you're not having to fight against yourself. And I believe every single one of those things like is always moving. So in that sense, it's just about orienting them towards where you want them to go. And then you can trust that like you don't have to do the hard work. Okay, the hard work is the analysis and the inner conversation, the inner talks. But then once you've done that, and then those parts are on board, like, oh yeah, okay, I see why this might be important. You have to talk to them in their own language. You have to ask what they want. But if you can appeal to them and say, hey, I've got this goal up here, here's what's in it for you, it's like inner negotiation. Then subconsciously, without having to think about this, you will just naturally start moving towards the things you want without being held back by certain personality parts. Okay? And that's integration. Integration is all your parts moving together and cooperating. All the parts are there regardless of whether you name them or not. They're all working. So I could think of a lot of examples of these. I don't want to go into them right now just because this video is already 15 minutes, but you can apply this in so many different ways. There are a lot of tools for interacting with these personality parts, but step one, like, make a list of all the things that you are, all the modes that you see yourself work in, all the things that you find yourself caring about, or I don't know, yeah, just the things that you identify with yourself. Okay, usually we stop at like the things that we do in this materialistic culture. I used to kind of just be like, am I a musician, or am I a aspiring psychologist, or am I a teacher, or am I a like tennis player? I used to like tennis. I was like, what am I? And they were all things that I could do. We have to get past that. That's fine. First of all, I'm all of those things. I contain within me the capacity for all of those things. So I am, to some degree, all of those things. But like, what about the modes? Don't just think about what you do. Think about the states that you embody, because those things are going to do things regardless. Okay? And they're going to be a certain way that is either helpful or harmful towards your goals or towards the people around you. Okay, so I want you to make a list of all the things that you are, all the modes that you're in, that you recognize yourself in. Not just the things that you want to be, but just things that you feel would be worth interacting with. Okay? Things that you've noticed in yourself. I don't want to be my angry self, but is there something important that my angry self does give me? Yeah, of course. And having a healthy angry self is going to be a heck of a lot better than having an unhealthy, toxic version of my angry self. Okay, so just write down everything you can. Don't overthink it. My list was at least 20 or 30 parts or modes. Okay, but then draw lines between them. Like, connect what you can. If you see, hey, this person could learn from this person. Like, for me, the writer, I connected to the moment capturer. If I am writing with the intention of capturing important moments in my life, then my writing is going to feel a certain way, and I think that could be very helpful for my writing. So I was thinking about that. I was also thinking the innovator in me. The innovator in me needs to be working with the game designer in me, with the writer in me, with the comedian in me, with the businessman in me. It needs to be innovating new approaches to being those people. Do I need to apply the businessman to the musician in me? Yeah, absolutely. The musician in me is terrible at business. It's terrible at marketing. Terrible at money. So they need to talk. They need to interact with each other. They can learn from each other. The person who's proud of what they do, that person needs to talk to the performer in me. They need to talk to the writer in me as well. And the teacher. The efficient book reader in me. If I can really develop that person, the person who reads books really well and in a focused way, then the student in me is going to benefit. Okay? You can see just an infinite amount of combinations. And so if you have these 10 different parts in you, but they're creating little groups and little formations and saying, how can we work together? You're going to be a more efficient person. Okay? So that's something that's been helping me so much in my life lately. I just wanted to share it. You don't. Oh, back to my original point, I guess. I'm sorry. If you're gonna be a master at anything, you probably need to also just like master all the things that you are interested in. If you are a person who's interested in a lot of different things, get those things on board with each other, and you'll be a master of yourself. Jack of all trades, master of being a person who's a jack of many things, of many traits. Master that, and then all the potential for any of those things, for you to become a master at any of them, the potential is all the greater because they're integrated. You'll see momentum in all the things you're interested in increase. Like, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. So I just want to share this. This is helping me a lot. Thanks for listening today. As I get deeper into these things, let me know if there's certain things you want me to talk about. It could literally be anything. I'm still not putting any limitations on this. But if they can be helpful, then hey, why not? All right. Have a good day.